Yes, Pressure Biosciences is a company that is listed on the OTC under the symbol PBIO. We are a manufacturer and supplier of instruments, consumables, and very esoteric testing services to companies all over the world and laboratories all over the world. What's different about us is that all of our products rely on the use of very high pressure. And when I talk about high pressure, I'm talking about pressures that are higher than the pressures at the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean, which is the Marianas Trench. 7 miles. Imagine 7 miles of ocean on top of you, 16,000 PSI or pounds per square inch. And our products enable scientists all over the world to capitalize and use a very high pressure. And pressure can do things that we use temperature, we use heat and cold, we use chemicals in the lab, but pressure can move at the speed of sound. It's instantaneous. It can be controlled. It just really hasn't been used that much in the past until we came along and found a way to very safely encase this pressure in instruments that can be used by scientists all over the world.
All right. I'm keen to learn more. Your slides are up on the screen. Do you see them up?
I do. How do we make them bigger?
We can just zoom in probably. I think, but I'm going to go backstage here, Rick, and I'm going to give you the floor. And just when you want us to go to the next slide, just say next slide. And
I will do that. So let's go to the next slide. I want to remind everybody that some of the things I say may be considered forward-looking statements. So please do your diligence before thinking about investing in our company or any company. May I have the next slide? As I was mentioning, all of our products rely on the use of controlled high pressure. When you think about the Marianas Trench, 7 miles of ocean, that's about 16,500 pounds per square inch. Our instruments go to 45,000 routinely, and now we're working on an instrument that can go to 60,000 pounds per square inch. Our workhorse is the instrument called the Barocycler 2320. We have over 350 of these instruments all over the world, primarily in proteomic labs, labs that are studying proteins, using the proteins for development of drugs, for diagnostics, for therapies. We're coming out with a new instrument in the coming 3 to 6 months called Shear technology. Shear technology combines very high pressure with intense shearing forces to allow us to do what we've been told all our life can't be done. It allows us to make oil go into water. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. May I have the next slide? So we have 3 technology platforms that are related to our technology of using high pressure. We have a total of 29 patents. The first platform is called pressure cycling technology, where we actually turn pressure on and off. We cycle pressure. We're able to control molecules. Scientists in the lab can break open cells to get out DNA, RNA, and proteins. They can control how enzymes work in the lab, and they can discover things that they might not see before using the archaic, what we think archaic means of breaking open cells, of beating them up with tiny little beads or smashing them so that we can open them up and get out those incredible molecules inside. We basically squeeze them like squeezing a sponge with pulses of pressure going up to 45,000 pounds per square inch. We have over 350 instruments in over 200 labs worldwide. Our second technology platform is called Barofold. And when you think about a protein, without going into too much of the science, a protein is a set of peptides that are strings of amino acids that fold on each other. They have a very specific configuration, a very specific way they fold. And if they are misfolded, the protein will not work. It won't be effective as a drug, as an antibody, as a diagnostic. And pressure can sometimes fix misfolded proteins. So we're working with 6 companies right now. Some of them are startups, some of them are multi-billion-dollar companies that are developing protein-based drugs. And when they build the protein in the lab, make the protein lab, it sometimes gets misfolded. And if we can fix it using pressure, we can help them get to market. And our game plan here, of course, is to have a revenue stream coming from us being in the production manufacturing stage of that product for the entire patent life of that compound. The third area is, or technology platform, is Shear technology, or UST. In this technology, we've combined ultra high pressure with very intense shearing forces. And what we do here primarily right now is we make what's called nano emulsions. The world is made up of emulsions. We have emulsions every day. Milk is an emulsion. Many things that we see, paints are emulsions. But the problem with emulsions is they settle out. Think about your raspberry vinaigrette before you put it on your salad, and how you have to shake it like crazy before you put it on the salad. We've developed a method called ultra shear technology. We've already been granted 6 issued patents. We have more patents on the way that help us make oil go into water. They would make a raspberry vinaigrette go into one solution, so you'd never have to shake it again. Paint would never settle out again. May I have the next slide, please? So our customers are who's who list all over the world. In the center of the picture on the left is a picture of our Warrior, our instrument that is in over 200 laboratories worldwide and has been used in a number of research applications and in quality control for releasing drugs to the market. May I have the next slide? What I want to talk about is really ultra shear technology, which is an instrument called Shear that we're working on. We have 3 prototypes. We have a benchtop, we have a floor model, and we have an industrial scale model. We're looking to get our first ultra shear technology systems out on the market by the end of this year, the beginning of 2022. Our prototypes have been used to generate some very exciting data, and we'll talk about that now in the next few minutes. But this slide simply shows that whether it's a cream that we're putting in our coffee, whether it's paint, whatever it is, we're surrounded by emulsions. And again, one of the biggest problems with emulsions is that if you let them sit, they will eventually settle out. And that can hurt us, that can make the product not as effective, whether it's a agrochemical spray for a pesticide or a fertilizer, or whether it's something that we're drinking or cosmetics. When they separate out, it can cause a problem with the product. So what we need to do is find a way to make oil go into water and stay in water. May I have the next slide? So here's a picture of a sample of liquid. This is actually a CBD, a mixture of CBD oil and water. And the vial on the left, which is a bit opaque, is when you put the CBD oil and water and you homogenize it and you mix it up really hard. That's what it looks like, and that's unfortunately what a lot of people are using when they're making their CBD products. CBD is a compound that's inside oil. And we as human beings, we are water-based. So we don't absorb oil and we don't absorb things out of oil very well. So there's a lot of literature out there saying that less than 10% of the actual CBD or whatever the active ingredient is that's in the oil is actually absorbed by the body. We have to find a way to make it more water soluble so it can get around the body and it can be absorbed much quicker. If you look at the sample on the right, that is a post-ultra shear technology nano emulsion. What we've done is using our patented technology, we've broken the oil from oil globs, oil drops into millions of oil droplets. All of these droplets contain the active ingredient, in this case, CBD, but it could be vitamin D, it could be astaxanthin, a very powerful antioxidant. It could be anything else that is encased in oil. And we've broken it into millions of tiny little oil droplets. And these, because of the nature of these small molecules now, the small droplets, it becomes much more absorbable, much more water soluble, much more what we call bioavailable to the body. We've done studies, and we were very excited to put out a press release 2 months ago to say our CBD Nano Emulsion, which you can see on the right, had 14 months of stability. It looked the same in 14 months as it did on the day we made it. This is now at 16 months, and it's still looking the same, as you can see it on the right. May I have the next slide? Astaxanthin, I mentioned, is a very powerful antioxidant. But again, the astaxanthin molecules inside the oil, and it doesn't get absorbed very well. We made a nano emulsion, and you can see the difference. The one on the left is the standard emulsion that is being sold on the market, being used in products that are sold on the market. The one on the right, which is much clearer, which means that the molecules are much smaller, therefore more water soluble, more absorbable, was made through our ultra shear technology. May I have the next slide? This is a depiction of we bought CBD, water soluble CBD on the market. Bought a number of different water soluble CBDs. When we added it to a beaker of water, it should have gone in and dissolved, but it didn't. You can see what happened on the right. On the bottom, we took the same material, we sheared it, we put it through our system, and when we put it into water, it disappeared. It became truly water soluble. So shear technology is a method that will make oil become dissolved in water. It will allow that whatever the active ingredient is to be much more absorbable by the body, and therefore we're going to get much more out of it, and we'll need less to get maybe the same, if not a better effect. May I have the next slide? So it's a very broad market for Shear. We're excited as heck to get the first instruments out on the market. We're generating a lot of data with our prototypes. We have a lot of customers that are asking us, as you'll see in just a few minutes, for access to Shear. But the market potential is in food and beverages. It is in pharmaceuticals and vaccines and diagnostics, cosmetics, nutraceuticals. Even lubricants. Imagine your paint never settling out. May I have the next slide? So you can go online and read all. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have 4 very successful companies, public companies. I'm surrounded by an incredible group of very smart, hardworking people. Please go on our website and take a look at the people that I'm blessed to be working with. May I have the next slide? So recent news: on August 12th, we announced that we had formed a wholly owned subsidiary that we call PBI Agrochem. PBI Agrochem, we've set up a warehouse out in Nevada for processing and storage. We've hired personnel. We have received over $1 million in orders for agrochemical products. These are pesticides and fertilizers. They're eco-friendly. They're green. And what's really exciting about this is we've been working on trying to close, and we truly expect to close in the next few weeks, an acquisition of an existing agrochem company that has tremendous products. They haven't been on the market much lately, but we plan to resurrect it with the management of that group, and also we plan to use our technology to make their already good products better. So on August 16th, we announced the first half financials of our company. We had a tremendous first half of 2021. It was the second best first half of any year we've had in the last 10 years. Our revenue went from $520,000 in 2020 to $1.2 million in 2021. The second half, we've given guidance that the $700,000 we did last year, we think will more than triple that. We think we'll do more than $2 million. This is additive of the PBI Agrochem, the agrochemical products that we'll be shipping out, as well as our core business. And also in the first half of the year, we reduced our operating loss by about half, took it down from about $1.2 million, $1.3 million down to about $600,000. May I have the next slide? We also announced news yesterday that we plan to set up separate, maybe through joint ventures or arm's length transactions. We plan to set up demonstration and tolling sites in the U.S., starting with one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast. These are sites that will allow the ability of other companies to come to the tolling site and get Shear technology performed on their products on a fee-for-service basis. At the present time, we have every indication that we have a tremendous group of people that want to purchase or access the Shear. We don't think that we'll be able to supply that right away in terms of the number of instruments that are being that we think will be requested. So by setting up the tolling sites, we're allowing groups that either don't want to buy an instrument, can't afford an instrument, or can't get one for a while to be able to access Shear technology. So we're working with a couple of groups, one East Coast, one West Coast, excited about setting up these sites. We also announced today that we have nano emulsified what's called neem oil. Many of your listeners that might be using neem oil at home, it's available in hardware stores. It's USDA and EPA approved. It's used for killing insects. It's used for killing mosquitoes and a lot of malaria borne places around the world. So it's a very popular insecticide, but it has issues. The issues are that it is not that stable, and they even ask you to mix it when you dilute it. Some manufacturers with soap, because that helps to keep it stable. We've nano emulsified it. We've just been working on this. We have 4 months so far of stability, and at 4 months we got the same kill with the insecticide that we got when we first made it 4 months ago. So it's very effective even after 4 months. It's under 100 nanometers, which makes it a nano emulsion. And we think it's going to be much more stable than what's on the market. So we're looking at this not only for the wholesale market through PBI Agrochem, our new wholly owned subsidiary, but also we're looking for the first time into the retail market because there is a need for a good, stable neem oil product. May I have the next slide, please? This is the last slide. I just want to talk very briefly about some key accomplishments. Again, we had tremendous first half of this year, but we think we're going to have a much better second half. And next year looks to be a very, very exciting year for us because we'll have an entire year of selling all of the new products, all of our eco-friendly products, and we will have our Ultra Shear technology out both in a fee-for-service basis as well as for a lease and royalty basis for the instruments that we actually get on the market starting next year. We formed a consortium with Ohio State University, and we'll be inviting some of the top and some of the new food companies from around the country, around the world, to come into Ohio State because we're setting up our industrial scale prototype there later this fall. For demonstration to food companies all over the world. Ohio State is one of the top food and beverage company academic institutions in the U.S. We're working with a Danaher company called Leica Microsystems in the area of cancer and therapeutics using our pressure cycling technology. We've been awarded more patents in the last 4 patents in the last few months, and we have more patents that are coming. So when we're looking to close our acquisition of our eco-friendly agrochemical supplier. So we're very excited. It's been a great year for us, but we think the best is yet to come. I appreciate everybody taking time to listen to our story.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Question from Roy in the chat here. Are you doing any research on high pressure CBD to raise the absorption rate? There is some discussion about this in the chat.
100%. If you look at yesterday's press release as an example of where a tolling site fee-for-service might be very effective, we had a group out in Montana called Safer Medical of Montana that is developing a spray, a CBD spray. They sent it to us to have it nano-emulsified. We nano-emulsified it. We sent it back to them, and this is all in real time. This is earlier this week, and the CEO of the company used it on. He's a veteran of the Vietnam War. He was a helicopter pilot. He wants to give back. He set up a number of things for veterans. He sprayed it on his knee. He said, "Rick, this is the best my knee has felt in years. If you were on the market, I'd give you an initial order of 10,000 vials because of the nano-emulsification, what it's done for our CBD product." And it goes on and on. We have multiple. I probably have 6 companies that have come to us that have said the nano-emulsification of their CBD product has made it more water soluble, more bioavailable, and they're looking forward to getting this on the market or getting the tolling site set up.
Rick Schumacher, the CEO of Pressure Biosciences, trades on the OTCQB. PBIO is your ticker. Rick, thank you so much for joining us today on the Benzinga Small Cap Healthcare Conference.
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate it.